This is the story of a child whose father died at the age of 2 and his mother worked very hard to raise him, who was cheated by his business partner in business, but despite this he made the most luxury car of the century, Mercedes-Benz, the word, and it was a driver, and his mother was a housewife. When Karl Benz was 2 years old, his father died and his mother had to work at different places. To raise him, Karl Benz took advantage of his mother's hard work. And he became a good student. At the age of 15, he qualified the mechanical engineering exam and took admission in Karl Polytechnical School. After completing his engineering studies, he worked at 7 different places. He joined an iron construction company. Sometimes he would work as a draftsman and sometimes he would become a designer. While doing the job, he would look at his environment, and one thing became clear to him, and that was that in the future, horse carriages would not be the same, and so on. Cars would be made, which was not a coincidence. Karl Benz left his job at the age of 27 and made a mechanic his business partner. The name of this business partner was August Ritter, and together they opened an iron factory in their free time. Mr. Benz was always busy in making such cars, which he himself gave away. Karl did not know what to do because his business partner and Gustav Ritter also had shares in the company, and that is why Karl did not leave this company. They could, because all their money for food came from this iron factory, but in this bad situation a girl helped them, and the name of this girl was Batha Ringer, who later became his wife. Now what happened was that Batha's family, Batha, had saved some money for her dowry. Now what Barth did was that he took some of this money and bought all the shares of August Ritter with it, due to which now there were only 2 owners of that iron factory, Batha and Mr. Karl Benz, and for the next 10 years he held many patents in his name, such as one patent he got on how to ignite the battery of the engine, the second patent got for making gear shift, the third for clutch, the fourth for making carburetor, the fifth for making engine. There was a 6th patent on the spark plug, to keep the car cool, and 7 for the speed regulator. Even after getting so many patents, this company was not making money, due to which what Mr. Karl Benz would have done was to sell some shares of the company to the investor, and they would take money in return, and this process continued, and in the end, only 5 shares of the company were left with Karl Benz, due to which all the other investors demoted Cal, i.e. put him in a smaller position, and Cal became very sad. Mr. Benz had realized that his dreams could not be fulfilled by staying in this company, and he left this company and came back to ground zero. After a few weeks, Benz met 2 brothers named Max Ross and Frederick Wilhelm, both of whom were owners of a bicycle shop. Together they formed a new company named Baines & C. This company quickly became successful. Baines was getting a lot of time here to work on his engine, and in 1885, in the year 1855, he made a car which could self-drive, and it was named Benz Patent Motor Wagon. Its maximum speed was 16 km per hour. Now this Model 1 was very difficult to control, and once it was being demonstrated in public, and this model it went straight and collided with the wall, due to which the model sold very poorly. In the very next year, i.e. in 1888, they released Model 2, and after 2 years, Model 3. Mr. Baines's wife Batha was sure that this Model 3 was very good, and to sell it more, it should be publicized, but Mr. Benz was not ready for this. He knew that if this Model 1 collided somewhere, then these models would not be sold again, hence he was not publicizing it. Then on August 4, 1888, Batha, she decided something. She secretly went to her 5 children at night, whispered something in the ears of 2 of them, and came back and lay down with her husband. Now the next morning, no one thought about what she did. Batha Bynes can take such a step. The next day she got up from hiding, took her 2 sons, Richard and Eugene, took out a Benz Model 3, started the car and drove to her mother, who was 106 kilometers away. When many people saw her on the way, they started walking like ghosts out of fear. No one knew what this thing was that was moving on its own, and there was no horse to move it, but Mrs. Bench still moved. At that time, Model 3 came with only 45 liters of fuel. He stopped the car at a pharmacy shop to buy petroleum solvent because there was no petrol pump at that time. He bought Ligroin from that pharmacy shop and used it. Put it in the car. The most interesting thing is that this pharmacy shop in Germany is today called the first fuel station of the world, i.e. the first petrol pump. Apart from this, what were the good roads at that time? Hence the car in between. Batha would repeatedly stop the car, take the children down, repair it with her hairpin and complete a few kilometers of the car again. In between, the brakes of her car were completely worn out because it was made of wood, so Batha stopped the car at a cobbler's shop and got leather brakes installed. She was told to cover this 106 kilometers, and it took 12 hours for her 2 sons. After reaching there, she informed her husband through telegram that she had reached her mother's house. After a few days, she came back to the Karl bench in the same car. This trip gave a lot of publicity to their business. Even Batha told Karl about the improvements in the brakes, due to which the design was changed, and in this way, for the first time, a wife brought her husband's invention to the world. Let us tell you that this activity gave a lot of publicity to the company, and their internal combustion engine sold a lot and became the largest automobile company in the world, and 189972. This number of cars sold is very big for that time because all the people used only horse carriages and only rich people could afford these cars. At this time, Bench's company was doing very well, but there was another company which was in trouble. It was made, and like the Bench, it had made very good cars. The name of this company was Daimler Motors. Now it had 2 partners, Gully Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach. Now both of them were engineers, but Daimler was also a very good businessman. Knew how to get maximum profit from his business, but this understanding and not that good businessman Mr. Karl Baines was better looking than the cars of 1887X, and after this Diamond Motors created their masterpiece, which was 35 horsepower. Now this car name, the owners of Daimler Motor Companies accepted this, and this model became very famous. After this, the economic conditions of Germany were not good, due to which both Benz and Daimler cars were not being sold. Now both these companies decided that they should merge, and they actually did the same, and this company was named Daimler Bench Company. After this, instead of calling all the models released by these 2 companies as Daimler-Benz, they called them Mercedes-Benz-like, and all these models were designed by a very famous designer whose name was Ferdinand Pasch. I hope you must have heard the name Pasch. Karl Benz died in April 1929 when he was 84 years old, and after this came Adolf Hitler. Hitler liked Mercedes-Benz so much that he himself used to travel in it. He wanted the whole world to know that Germany's cars are the best, so he asked the Daimler Bench Company to make such a car. Of all the car races that took place in the world at that time, Baines's car won the maximum race. Another company was winning the car race at that time. Its name was Auto Union, but it was also from Germany. The company was then in 1939, World War II started. During the Second World War, Hitler told the maximum companies of Germany that they would now make products only for the army, hence the Dieter Baines company also stopped its main production and started manufacturing products for Nazi Germany. Started making vehicles and trucks. When Hitler asked the Bach company to make more trucks, first the Bench company hired women workers, but when this did not work, they made the Jewish prisoners as workers and forced them to work. At the time, 63,000 prisoners were working for the Bench company. When Germany lost the war, the image of these companies became very bad because they forced the prisoners to work, which was a Daimler. They had manufacturing plants in India. They were taken away from them, and only the German manufacturing plants were left with them. Now after this company started building its image. They first made ambulances, and then vehicles for the police, and later again for the common people. They started making cars. If I talk about the financial year 2022, they sold 24 lakh cars whose total value was 13,640 billion rupees, which is whether they have cleared Tata.com or have made a unicorn if we think after the Second World War. Talking about, they have launched luxury cars one after the other like W17 220 in 1950, which is a full-size luxury car. Grand Tour luxury car W16 300 W121 1990 W12 220 AC in 1960 W11 12 300A W100 600 114 W115 200 AC R17 AA Class C107 ALA Class W123 Midsize Executive Car W120 3 midsize executive car in 1980 W123 executive class car W201 1990 W90 Compact Executive Car W1668 A Class W210 Class W463G Class W1663M Class W140S Class 2000 W1669 A Class W245B Class W204C Class C216S Class and W415 Sun W176 A Class R21 A Class W2S Class C117CX16GA X also latest in 2020H 247G Class W223's Class W26C Class R501E Mini SUV Seal W14E Class. If you like my video, please like and subscribe to my video. See you in the next video. Thank you.